예, 계속해 보겠습니다. 그 챕터 6가 너무 간단해서 써머리가 없을 줄 알았는데 있네요. 또 근데 여기 우리가 지금 보고 있는 그 클리프 노트나 아니면 스파크 노트가 미국의 중고생들용으로 만들어진 사이트라 저희가 지금 방금 봤듯이 상당히 얼라들 애들이 보기에는 조금은 낯설고 불편하고 뭔 말인지 모르겠는 그런 내용들이라 애들용 사이트에서 애들용은 아니죠. 중고생들이면 애들은 아니죠. 중고생들용 사이트에서 이렇게 조금 심도 있게 어널리시스를 하거나 하기에는 별로 적절하지 않은 내용이라 제가 생각해도 그냥 간단하게 넘어갔을 것 같아요. 얼마나 간단하게 넘어가는지 살짝 보고 넘어갑시다. 그냥. 별 의미 둘 필요는 없을 것 같은 서머리하고 어널리시스 같습니다. 클리프 노트는 서머리를 항상 좀 썰렁하게 하는데 어떻게 서머리를 했나 봅시다. In chapter 6, Winston Smith confesses in his diary about a visit to an aging prostitute. This episode with the repulsive, objectionable prostitute exacerbates his desire for pleasant sexual experience. exacerbate라고 표현할 수 있나요? 오히려 이걸 더 강화시키지 않았나요? 조금 적절하지 않은 단어 선택 같은데? Winston also thinks about his wife, Catherine, who has been out of his life for nearly 11 years. They separated because Winston could not stand Catherine's orthodoxy to the party or her coldness toward him. coldness라고 보기에도 좀 그렇지 않나? 표현이? 알바를 잘못 뽑은 것 같아. 끝? 예, 알바가 날로 먹었습니다. 어널리시스도 없네요. 스파크 노트에서 뭐라 그러는지 봅시다. That evening, Winston records in his diary his memory of his last sexual encounter, which was with a prostitute. He thinks about the party's hatred of sex and decides that their goal is to remove pleasure from the sexual act. 그죠? So that it becomes merely a duty to the party, a way of producing new party members. 역시 서머리를 이 알바가 더 잘해. Winston's former wife, Catherine, hated sex, and as soon as they realized they would never have children, they separated. 그죠? Winston desperately wants to have an enjoyable sexual affair. 이거에 가깝죠. exacerbate 한 게 아니죠. Which he says as the ultimate act of rebellion. 야, 서머리 잘한다. In his diary, he writes that the prostitute was old and ugly, but that he went through with the sex act anyway. He realized that recording the act in his diary hasn't alleviated his anger, depression, or rebellion. 그죠? He still longs to shout profanities at the top of his voice. 서머리의 정수를 보여주고 있습니다. 이야, 잘한다. 이 알바, 알바비 더 줘야 돼. 내가 보기엔 스파크노트가 알바 잘 뽑았어. 어널리시스가 듣기부터인데 4에서 6까지 한꺼번에 하네요. 봅시다. 정리하는 겸. Winston's life at work in the sprawling Ministry of Truth illustrates the world of the party in operation. calculated propaganda, altered recalls, revised history, and demonstrates the effects of such deleterious mechanisms on Winston's mind. 부정적인 그 메커니즘들. The idea of doublethink explained in chapter 3 as the ability to believe and disbelieve simultaneously in the same idea, or to believe in two contradictory ideas simultaneously, provides the psychological key to the party's control of the past. 한꺼번에 정리를 하려니까 좀 이렇게 정리한 것도 도움 된다. Doublethink allows the citizens and the party control to accept slogans like words of peace and freedom is slavery, and enables the workers at the Ministry of Truth to believe in the first versions of their cause that they themselves have altered. With the belief of the workers, the recalls become functionally true. Winston struggles under the weight of this oppressive machinery and yearns to be able to trust his own memory. 자기만 갖고 있는 기억 같으니까. Accompanying the psychological aspect of the party's oppression is the physical aspect. Winston realized that his own nervous system has become his arch enemy. 이게 챕터 6에 대한 어널리시스 같은데요. 여기부터가 chapter 6. Winston realized that his own nervous system has become his archenemy. The condition of being constantly monitored and having to repress every feeling and instinct forces Winston to maintain self-control at all costs. Even a facial twitch suggesting struggle could lead to arrest. 그 지나가던 오빠처럼. Demonstrating the thoroughness of the party's control. The theme of control through physical monitoring culminates with Winston's realization toward the end of the book that nothing in human experience is worse than the feeling of physical pain. 끔찍한 경험 나오죠. 나중에 보시면 되고. Winston's repressed sexuality, one of his key reasons for despising the party and wanting to rebel, becomes his overt concern in chapter 6, when he remembers his last encounter with a prostitute. The dingy, nasty memory makes Winston desperate to have an enjoyable, authentic, erotic experience. He thinks that the party's real, undeclared purpose was to remove all pleasure from the sexual act. Sex can be seen as the ultimate act of individualism, as a representation of ultimate emotional and physical pleasure, and for its roots in the individual's desire to continue himself or herself through reproduction. 이게 이렇게 볼 수 있으니까, 개인주의적인 어떤 그 행동으로 볼 수 있으니까 이걸 그 컬렉티비즘으로 그 바꿔야 되잖아요. 전체주의로, 집단주의로. 그래서 이런 거를 다 깨는 거다. 이렇게 볼 수 있죠. By transforming sex into duty, the party strikes another psychological blow against individualism. Under Big Brother's regime, the goal of sex is not to reproduce one's individual genes, but simply to create new members of the party. 개인의 그 유전자를 다시 만드는 게 아니라 새로운 멤버를 만들어내는 거다. 너무 좀 썰렁한. 그런 그래도 그 앞쪽에 서머리는 훌륭했던 것 같아요. 오케이, that's it. 챕터 7에서 봅시다.